Alright, give a round of applause for Power Ranger Partners up there, ladies and gentlemen. We have Westminster John as the Red Ranger. We have Karen Ashley who is the Yellow Ranger. We have David Jost as well. I think I'm missing somebody. Am I missing somebody? No? Yeah. Walter's missing, that's it, good. I thought we'd lost the Power Ranger for a minute and gone. It's me.
Hello!
How are you?
Hello, London!
So, London, I decided to start something. I started in Boise, where every city I go to now, I'm going to do a little more. So, after we're done with the panel, I'm going to get everybody together, and everybody can make arms up in the air, and we're going to blast out some more sometimes. I'm going to post it on my Facebook page, so it'll get just a little bit of exposure. And you guys can all have a little bit of our moment.
Bloody brilliant, man.
Bloody brilliant. And I want all of you to know it's a very important moment because Mr. Walter Jones is in the house.
Yeah, just Walter Jones. He's wearing a very fetching Team Masto t-shirt, I must admit. There we go. So welcome the four of you. Thank you very, very much for coming over and joining us. You can't imagine how many people's inner childs have been very, very happy right now. We've even got a wide range of vintage Power Ranger garb, a White Ranger here, we've got Lady over there. So London is very Power Ranger crazy right now, so thank you very much for that. What is it like though for you guys, even all this time, it's like 21 years later, and your series still gets a monster. I mean, there's been so many iterations, and yet yours is so much love right now. How does that feel?
It's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible because, I mean, what we're seeing is we're seeing generations of people now. So it used to be, I think a couple of weeks ago we were at a con, we had a guy come through with a picture of Austin and I hugging him as a kid. And now he's like this man that was bigger than both of us. And we're like, wow. So it's pretty amazing.
When we get photos like that, one of our favorite things to do is to recreate the same poses.
Yeah.
With that guy. Like, all right, 20 years later, you hold them side by side, and it's pretty neat. So watching all the fans come, the older fans coming down with their little fans, because now you guys are all the kids too, or some of us are. And walking up to the table, and it's like, I'll let you show it. So is my son, and he knows that the originals are the best. Okay, well, it's also that, so it's pretty cool.
And is it, for you guys then, what's your favourite memories been of being on the series all that time ago?
Oh my gosh, there's so many to choose from. Are you saying like favorite? I guess for me, one of my favorite moments was going and doing the movie. We shot the entire movie in Australia, and that was epic. You know, I got to be on an amazing show, and then to see it go to a big budget movie blew my mind. So yeah, that was one of the many moments I loved.
We did this, we had the opportunity to do a number of different charities, and there was one year where we were invited to go to a hospital for Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is a foundation for children with terminal diseases. And we were walking through the hallways, you know, in our suits without our helmets, and there were some rooms we couldn't go into. And there was one room in particular was a little boy who had cancer, and they're like, you know, he's been really sick and he hasn't smiled in like 3 weeks. And we peeked our head in through the window, and he lit up with a smile. And moments like that have just been amazing, because the beautiful thing about being a Power Ranger, about being part of this whole thing, is the fact that we created positive memories in you guys' minds, and we've created positive moments in your life. And even though we haven't met you, when we see each other, it's like we're already connected. So it's pretty amazing.
Austin, what are you? What's your favourite memory?
Man, there's so many. I think that Universal Studios was probably a huge moment for us. Universal Studios, everybody's heard of that, right? In America. If they make it and it goes on TV, there's probably some form or version of a ride that are based on. They had these massive amphitheaters. I think it was in '94 was the year we did it, and we were supposed to go and do like one show with a couple thousand people. You know, do a big martial arts demo. I did a backflip off this tower. You know, with things blowing up, and it was, you know, put together very good. So it was only supposed to be one show. It was only supposed to be a couple thousand people. Well, that changed real quick. They actually shut down the freeway in downtown LA for like 8 miles. People were in line the day before, camped out to get in, and one show turned into, I think it was 5 or 6 shows, and they moved us from the small theater to the biggest one at Universal Studios. We ended up breaking Universal Studios attendance records, and it was insane. I remember coming out on stage, and you guys have all seen Star Trek, like where they go to warp speed, you see all the, you know, the stars just like go flying by. When I came out, I remember looking up through the visor of my helmet, and it looked like I went to warp speed because of all the flashes that started blowing up. And I was like, baby up, Scotty! Holy cow! You know? And then I turned around and did this big flip, and it was great. We all sat on stage and asked questions, and you know, little kids out there. Could you tell me, like, what's it like when you drive the Tyrannosaurus? You know, so it was the coolest thing, you know, it was so real, it was pretty cool.
David, what about yourself?
What was the question?
Favorite memory?
I mean, I have a ton of favorite memories. I mean, the one that Austin's describing obviously is a good one. I just, you know, everything that the original cast went through in the beginning, through the casting session and being cast as the Power Rangers, and then filming the original pilot, and then finding out that it was picked up to go to series, and then just that whole start. I mean, we had gone through so much together, and it was just, I just have a lot of good memories of that, and everything that we had to do to create the show, and all the hiccups that we went through. I got in a bar fight, got my nose broken, so on camera I had to draw some lines down my nose to make it look like I had a straight nose. That was in the first season. You know, there's so many good memories that I have. It was a lot of fun. And just all the hijinks and pranks that we would pull on each other. But I have to say that it's extremely humbling for us to see the fan base that still was after all these years, and that you guys tell us so many amazing stories about how the Power Rangers influenced your life and how it's helped you become who you are, whether it be a martial artist, a scientist, or a doctor, or I don't know, a cosmetologist, somebody that knows hair. I think it's great. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing the impact that our characters have on you, and it obviously touches our hearts. And we're very grateful to hear all your stories, and we're very thankful that you guys come out and see us. So thank you.
Now, speaking of fans, I know there are quite a few people that want to ask questions, so I'm going to turn the microphone over to them, and all we're going to do is stick your hand up over to them, and we'll go right away and ask. So this gentleman in the front.
Hi, first, David, I'd like to say you and Billy especially were a huge influence in my life. You know, sort of always taught me to use my brain to solve problems and got me into science and engineering.
Nice.
You know, I kind of loved how Billy built the Thunderzords from, you know, from the old dinosaurs, and I was just, this guy's awesome. So, I guess my question is, maybe present company excluded, who do you think were the coolest Rangers, sort of, whether in Mighty Morphin or post Mighty Morphin, which were your, you know, whether it was Andros or Tommy, who was the coolest in your opinion?
Well, that's a good question, but I mean, I don't know that I have favorite Rangers. I just think that we all have something unique to offer, whatever the Ranger is, and I know that people out there relate to different Rangers, obviously relate to abilities, so I mean, I'm thankful for that. But I think we're all cool.
Yeah.
All Rangers.
We couldn't pick one, because then it would get bad, and we get the other one. We're all really good friends now, so. We were the best, though. No, I'm just joking.
Question for the lady in the front of the room.
Again, I just want to say thank you. You guys gave me the confidence to be just myself as a child, as someone who was overweight and bullied. And I know that one of the series, one of you stood up for bullies, and that made me go into school, stand up to other bullies, other students, and then gave me the confidence to stand up to myself. Thank you. My question actually was partially answered because I want to know what was the best prank, because I read somewhere a few years ago that you guys like to pull pranks on each other, and I want to know what the best prank was.
I didn't pull any pranks. It was always Jason Frank who was pulling pranks on people. I don't know what the best one was. I think you have a couple of good ones that you talked about. Yeah. Yes. Austin's got some good ones too.
I'm trying to remember which ones I can talk about.
I have one though that the Catherine did. Well, actually, Bolton, the guys who play Bolton Skull, Jason, Arby, and Ollie, when she first got on the show, she walked into her dressing room and they'd taken all her furniture out of the room. And they put all of her furniture in their room. And then she went and worked a little bit, came back, and then she walked back in the room, and all of the furniture from their room and her room were all stuffed into her room. And so they just kept doing this to her all day, where her dressing room was totally messed up. So she ended up getting some hair gel, and she put it in Jason Hardy's boots. And he's still pissed off about that, because you're not supposed to do that to a man's cowboy boots. So I thought that was a good one. She got it back really good. I thought that was great.
That was pretty good.
He's still pissed, but whatever.
That is kind of messed up. Don't do that to me.
Don't do it to me.
But I'll do that.
I know there was always after lunch, sometimes brothers get a little lonely, and there was always a guess who kind of thing, stop me. We didn't know where the gas was coming from sometimes. Who did that? And we tried to keep a straight face on the tape. Dying sometimes. It was that's a horrible thing.
Yeah, cameras are rolling. I mean, that was sad.
And all of a sudden,
There was no maturity here. I was 17. I didn't even want to be mature yet. But there was definitely some people that, we're all doing our thing, we're trying to be serious, and all. So they all would go, we're, eyes watering, and we're trying to do this scene, and pretty soon the guys behind the camera are like, God, too late, it already happened. Incredibly foolish, childish, fun.
Good question. Next question.
Where's this young lady here?
Hi, I watched Power Rangers when I was a very little kid, and it's always stuck with me all the way growing up. So thank you very much for that, because you guys were always the greatest, and no series after us has ever compared. But I always want to know if there's anything you would have done differently if you could go back and do it all over again.
I wish we felt so much the first year. We had been told at one point that we were number one in the world, or a children's show in the world, and it was on fire on a global scale. The show was, but we were filming so much. I know that I personally didn't really get the opportunity to go out and see the manual that first year, and even a few years after that, after Universal, I knew that people were crazy for the show. But I didn't understand then the impact that we were truly going to have on so many little ones, and where this was going to go 20 years later. So I wish that I had known that, if I could do it then, that would be kind of cool, because I would have spent even more time, because we all love being with the kids when they would come to set, or make a wish foundations. We all love that. We had a lot of fun, watching the big eyes, I would have Superman and walk up to me at age 5. So I wish I had known, because I would have spent even more time with so many balloons that hoping maybe I could have even had a bigger impact.
Yeah. I agree. Just live in the moment a little more. It was going by so fast, and our work schedule was so crazy that we normally a TV show shoots 1 episode a week. Well, we came on every day, so it was we'd shoot 4 episodes every 2 weeks. So our schedule was double. So I would have loved to have just been in the moment for a hot second, just to kind of soak it up. But I will say this, doing the convention circuit and meeting all of you and hearing all your stories you know, because who would have thought 21 years later, 22 years later, we'd be sitting here in London talking to you about Power Rangers? I mean, you couldn't have told me that was going to happen. So, you know, thank you for renewing my love for the shop. Yeah.
Great question.
Great question.
We have a question from the gentleman in front.
Hi. Again, much like I imagine everyone here, I'd just like to say a big thank you for just creating something so influential, and it's absolutely brilliant. I'd just like to know, across the series that you're in, there were quite a few bad guys. Do any of you have a specific favourite villain, or any reason why?
You know, I gotta tell you, one of the things that agitated me, like, yeah, I will have to be able to do it. You know, and especially this guy, you know, he's the smart guy, right? How come we can never figure out that we never were going to just kill a monster once? We never figure that out. We can save the world. We definitely kill him the second time. But like, how come we can just jump in his Zords and go straight to it? You know, like, dinner is going to be served. Let's get this over. You know what I mean? So anyway, favorite villains for me, I think, I gotta go back to the old school. I love Rita. I love getting out of headache. And Goldar. I'm the only ranger that ever kicked his butt on Morph. It wasn't even like Gucci. It was like somebody threw away a purse.
How about Walter and David? What were your favourite one?
You know what? Roy's head was pretty scary. I thought when he came onto the scene, it was like, dude, this blood is coursing through his veins. He got like his V and his growl. It was crazy. It was like, he was certainly, I thought, intense. And I gotta get up to the buddies. I mean, they were always you hear them, they break apart, come back. You're like, wow, okay. I guess that's why you know, you couldn't really hurt them, but they were silly, you know, they were fun, and I think they added a large concept of comedy to the show. So I plus love being fun.
I mean, just words for me. I mean, all the original evil people were great. And we, you know, all the monsters were so ridiculous. Like when you really watch the show, it's like, wow. Like, what kind of Japanese mind created came on the leads for us to fight? But it was, you know, they were all good. The Lord said that it was like one of the coolest ones I thought. And Karen, I news from the movie was pretty awesome.
I like those ooze guys. When you hit them, they turn into this thing.
Great question.
I did an episode where I was teaching hip-hop keto to the kids, and I guess Zach had a thing about bugs, and so I got chased by a bunch of moths that were not putting anybody else to sleep. But all it was like, they tied like a bunch of little ribbons on some strings, like doing this and that.
You guys were impressed.
It was so weird. I was like, I'm running from that.
I know you're running for them. It's like we're saying Santa.
It took a lot of concentration to keep a straight face. Like, I really can't, like, you know, the armadillo. The armadillo, like, basically was like and strings attached to this ball, and there's PAs running with the strings behind us or in front of us with this ball coming at us. So all you see is the ball, we're looking at the strings, and I was like, come on, man. You know what we do?
But it was challenging. It was challenging because the ball is this big and it's rolling at us, and we have to dive over it. So it's funny, like we're doing flips and diving over it.
And it was heavy. Like, if you didn't get out of the way, you were going to get run over. For real. Because the PAs would be like, oh, my bad. You're supposed to flip that, or you should have flipped.
I love the time.
Yeah. Good question.
Can we ask a question? I know there's people
Yeah.
in the front, but we can get
I'll come back to this lady in a second. Let's go to the wide range as well. And
I want to share the love.
Yeah.
We're like, luckily we got here early.
Hi guys, just wanted to say it was really great meeting you earlier. Absolute honour. Probably like most people here, just turned into a massive kid again. Just wanted to bring up the new movie, obviously because it's in the works, the reboot thing. I just wanted to know if there was anyone in terms of actors or directors you'd like to see get involved.
I think, right now they're writing the script. The script is finished. I currently don't have a contract, nor do I know of another arranger that has a contract for the movie, as far as I know. So,
Too soon to tell.
I think that we're all kind of waiting to see what happens ourselves. And I promise you, if any of us end up in it, you guys will be the first to know.
questions from the Colonel?
Hi there, big Power Rangers fan, but I also got into the Sentai. I was wondering, have any of you guys ever seen the Sentai Power Rangers based on G-Ranger? And if so, what did you think about it?
I saw a little bit of it. When I came on the show, they showed just a little, and then they showed us an episode, the original guys were in, just so we kind of get an idea. I did watch a few because I got to meet Becky from the original, Mighty Morphin, I guess, original series. And I interviewed him, so I wanted to be able to say, I watched the show. So I did watch it recently. And it was a lot darker. It was amazing to me how much darker it was. And, but it was very similar as well. So it was very interesting. Very interesting. I was surprised that they did keep certain things similar, very similar.
I haven't seen much of it. I've been working as a paramedic for the last almost 15 years, so I haven't really been around TV. I just came back from the Middle East, and this guy told me, hey man, you should come back, you're not going to believe it, but the fans are still out there, and
And now the problem.
so I had no idea about this stuff, and they certainly didn't show it to us when we auditioned. I had no idea it was there.
Nah, we didn't see it right away. I don't know how far we were into it before we finally saw
I
it.
just remember we went, there was like a dinner party at one of our executive producers' house, Shuki's house.
Yeah.
And they showed us, they had actually filmed a whole different version of Power Rangers with like a much older cast, like in college. I don't know if you guys remember that. Do you remember? But they showed us that, and then they showed us a couple episodes of the Japanese footage, and it was pretty dark and bloody.
Yeah, people died in that series. That's interesting.
So I like that.
Yeah, look at the kids.
But I gotta say, I'm proud that, it was, when we were doing it, they said, okay, well, this show ran in Japan for 20 years before we brought it here. And now here we are at 21 years, and I'm proud that we maintained it that long.
Yeah, it's good to you guys.
I did get to meet the original Red Ranger. We met it in Pasadena, and it was pretty neat. Everybody say, oh, you were the first Red Ranger, and I found out I was actually number 26.
First American.
First American.
First in the English-speaking world.
A question from the gentleman in the middle.
Hey there guys, how are you doing?
Hi.
I just wanted to ask you, what specifically do you think made the show? I know you've got the special effects, you have the martial arts, but for me, I think it's like the whole diverse crew that you
I
have.
think so.
Is that what you
Yeah.
agree with? What do you think made it specifically?
I think it was a combination of all those things. But like you said, the one thing that was never really talked about was the diversity of the cast. You think about it, you had, the girl next door, you had the jock, you had the smart guy, it was like, I got to wear braids. It was like everybody had somebody to kind of identify with. So it didn't just give, one group of people a show. I think every single kid had somebody. But that was kind of the cool thing, that really set think it was all those things. I think, you know, it was pretty impressive what they came up with, for sure.
Yeah, I think the diversity of the show is definitely important too, because that way everybody has somebody you can relate to. So if you were a girly girl and you like pink and you like, you know, the people in your you're like, okay, I like that, or a gymnast or a martial artist or a dancer or you know, there's so many a smart guy, you know, there was something that would appeal to everybody. So that and martial arts and dinosaurs, weird monsters, yeah.
We have a question over here.
My big brother introduced me to Power Rangers when I was younger, and my mum was like, not again, but... Did you ever get bored of beating up putties?
No, I like them. I like fighting because we got to fight as ourselves. Back in the day, we got to, you know, do our civilian fights, which for us was a lot of fun because we got to be, you know, like I said, we worked so much. A lot of times, the costume stuff, we, you know, some of the stunt doubles had to do a lot of that for us because we just didn't have the time. So I love fighting the fights first.
I had a blast doing it. We used to get together, especially in the beginning, and we would. They pretty much gave my character a lot of free reign. I had a lot of martial arts background. I learned gymnastics when I came to the show, though I'm sure my gymnastics form was nothing formal, but I could throw some flips, do some stuff. So we're fighting buddies and getting together with the stunt guys because we all knew each other. It was a big family. And choreographing the next scene and half the mistakes that you didn't see. You know, where I almost kicked his head off, or he almost dropped somebody on my head, or something like that. You know, those were a lot of fun moments. So it was great.
I loved it because Zach had his own form of karate, which was hip hop hero. And so it's like nobody can choreograph that for me. I just had to come up with it on my own and figure out how to make dancing and martial arts make sense at the same time. Like, why would you start dancing and do it?
I remember we lived there. We lived in the same house at the time, so I remember watching him go through this. He's like, "Why the hell did I stand dancing?"
Trying to figure it out, man. And he figured it out. And he came through it, and eventually became a thing about relating the opponent and confusing us, the hands put in the eye, that kind of thing, you know. And the buddies gave me an opportunity to really be creative. That's one of my favorite parts about doing the show is creating fights with the buddies and see what I can come up with.
Okay, any questions from Joe?
I remember watching like tapes on the TV, but have you ever re-watched the old Power Rangers?
I see that on the internet. I see a lot of fans taking video and editing together to create like different things, and I see that more than I see individual episodes. But I think that's
It was weird watching yourself, especially if you're so young and I mean, it was like one of my first major acting jobs, so it's like, you look at it and why would I do that? But I did watch it. I had 8-year-old nephews, and a couple years ago they were very into the show. And so I watched a few episodes with them, and it was the weirdest thing because I don't even remember saying, I don't even remember that. Like, I don't even remember that day. I was like, wow. Like, it was actually entertaining though. I did enjoy it.
I never watched the show when I was on it. I've maybe seen 3 episodes, and I have watched the movie 3 times, just because of the premiere. It made us watch. So for me, it's really uncomfortable to watch myself on television, so I don't really watch it. Like Walter, I've seen some clips that fans will send me here and there, and I usually cringe. Why did I act like that? Or why did I say that line like that? So for me, it's best not to watch it.
Yeah, I've never really gone watching my stuff. I've seen some stuff. While I was overseas, I have a 4-year-old son, and he pretty much I was overseas. I was not available to be home. And my wife chose to put the television show on at home so he could see Daddy. So when I came home, I was Daddy ready. cool.
Teach him. Get ready to teach him. Well, he has.
You know what? That is a great idea. All right, for those of you that don't know, I have a website coming up soon.
You're my daddy.
We have a question for General.
Yeah, hi. Actually, I'm from Hawaii, and I remember some of you guys coming down to the islands one time for I guess a gathering. But quick question is, what is life? What are the challenges for you guys after the show? Going from being Power Rangers, what were the challenges for you guys?
I can tell you personally, I was a little kid when I went on the show. Thank God my parents were amazing and instilled some good values in me because I probably lost some of them while I was on the show. Hollywood wasn't, well, I won't speak for others, it wasn't the place for me to grow up. I needed to go out into other places, and I needed to succeed and fail many times, and I needed to learn how to be a man, like I had taught growing up. So when I left the show and ended up without much money, I was in anxiety, teaching martial arts during the day, traveling constantly. I had learned some hard life lessons, and it taught me about being a man. Then I got into medicine, emergency medicine, and I learned what it was like to watch people live and die for real, and to try and help them for real, and what it feels like when you can't, no matter how hard you try. So I learned a lot about life and death, and I tell you what, that was a path of growth that was exceptionally hard, but I wouldn't change it for a second. So that's what it was like for me.
Coming off the show, for me, I went on to continue with my acting career and had a show in Nickelodeon called Space Cases, which was kind of like a Star Trek for kids, and I was Captain Kirk. So that was pretty exciting for me to be starting my own show on Nickelodeon. Then I got the opportunity to work on Aaron Spelling's series, which I thought was my big thing. I was like, yes, I'm a rhyme, Aaron Spelling, and he did. Aaron Spelling created everything Charles Angel Starscream touched on these different shows, and his shows go on. He lived a long life, and I had one. We had a great cast, we had a bad time slot, and they only went one season. So from there, I just continued to work and continue to do different shows, which I enjoyed. Working on like a number of different television shows and different films. One of the shows I worked on was called The Shield, which won a Golden Globe and Emmy. And I worked with some exceptional actors and just continue to enjoy my career as a person.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very blessed. I got to continue to act, and I will say there have been quite a number of auditions where casting directors asked me for an autograph for their kids, and I got the part. So I don't know if it was because of the autograph or because of my performance. But I was not ashamed. I was like, heck yeah, call me. So no, I mean, it was like I had a great career. I've been able to do tons of commercials and tons of TV, and I started writing and producing, so that was amazing. And I tell people all the time, and especially in this day and age, if you want to become an actor, right, produce your own parts. There's no better way to practice than to film yourself, So that's been amazing. But one thing I will say that I really love, again, is, getting on the circuit, because I honestly did not know that you guys would still be here. So that was such a blessing, and I remember getting a phone call, or it was just back in the MySpace days, where Steve Cardenas actually hit me up on MySpace and was like, you gotta do this con, me and JDF are gonna be, in Chicago, you gotta come. And I was like, they don't even know who I am. And he was like, no, you don't understand. They wanted to see you again. And that opened up the door to so many amazing opportunities. And, so I, just continued to act, and now I'm doing a lot of this. So, very cool.
So, what is the short part? I heard you short. Oh,
we're doing a question and answer.
Well, it's like pulling a flyer on the candy.
Talk about challenges, was that what the question was? Or was it here? I mean, after I left the show, I went through some pretty personal, hard struggles for me, and I was with my sexuality and being gay, and really having to come to terms with that. So I struggled with that for 2 years, and then having a nervous breakdown because I was trying to religiously, and so I went to a hospital and tried to get my mind back together, and after that I went to Mexico for a year and hung out and learned to accept myself, and then when I moved back to Los Angeles, I just got into the business again, but on the other side of the camera, and started at the bottom and worked myself up to a producer. So I've worked on a lot of different scripted comedies and reality shows in the United States as a producer, and I still act now and then. But those are sort of my struggles. But it's always really important for you to accept who you are, believe in who you are, and don't let anybody tell you any differently. You're amazing.
Questions from a lady here?
Hi guys. I can't believe I'm talking to Power Rangers right now. Just really, it's not really much a question, but it's like a huge favour. Like, I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to ask this, but would you guys mind doing the morphing sequence, like, with your dinosaurs? Like, there's 4 of you. Like, would you guys mind doing that?
I tell you what, why don't we do that again with everybody?
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, do you want to come on stage with me? I can do that.
I tell you what, you got that phone operator.
Okay, let's go to a young gentleman right at the front who's patiently waiting. What question would you like to ask?
What would be your favourite Zord and why?
Mastodon! I got still the original.
Team Master!
I had 3 of them, so it's kind of tough. I had the Tyrannosaurus. Tyrannosaurus!
Tyrannosaurus!
Tyrannosaurus! So, Tyrannosaurus was kind of like, home for me. That's where it all started. But then I had my Dragonzord, and then I had no legs. So, they all just kind of like, it's kind of like today I'll take a Ferrari, tomorrow the Bentley, and the day after that, I love them all. I can't pick just one. That's a great question, though.
Yeah, that's tough. I had a few, too. But I remember when I first got on the show, I had to go, Saber-tooth tiger, give me dinosaur power! So I love saying that whole thing. So I like that, but I did like the bear. I like, obviously everybody gets to go through the bear, so I had some good lines, so that was good.
I like the unicorn from Resort. Does anybody even know who that is?
Yeah!
I was a unicorn for a little while. But no, Triceratops was always my favorite, but I was really happy when we did that. I got the wolf sword as well, because I think the wolf is really cool. So, it would be my favorite.
I didn't know you had a unicorn.
Power.
And a wolf.
We used to live in a house together when we were on the show, and there was, we were infamous for a number of different things. And there was one particular night I can recall where it was a house full of guys. So it was me, Austin, and some stunt guys off the show. And there was one night in particular where we all had friends over and we all started howling at the same time. Like,
yeah, so we had the wolf first.
I got a question from a lady here.
Obviously, I want to thank you guys like the rest of them does, but I also have a special thank you off my mother as well. She asked me to do this because you were the only people to shut me up when I was a child.
Tell your mom how much you love.
Like, coming off what you guys have said, you obviously didn't expect the Power Rangers to be as big as it did. Now, obviously, 21 years later, 22 returns. How did it make you feel knowing that, it is still going on, like, it is still affecting children's lives and children's hearts, and the children nowadays still have the heroes like we had you?
I think one of the things that's amazing is you guys constantly get to tell us how much we inspire you. It's not often that I get to be in front of so many of you now. Now it's more often, but you guys truly kind of inspired me. Hero was a superhero, and I knew that you guys all looked up to me, or those of you who did, as a superhero. And I know how I looked at Superman as a child, and he could do no wrong in that world. I I mean, in my eyes, he was perfect. So that was just a little bit of pressure for this guy. I was like, wow, if they think about me like that, I'm so not perfect. I gotta step up my game. I gotta rise to this occasion because I'm sure there's nothing I'm gonna run from. So I went through a lot of things in my life where I tried to get better every day, everything that I do, always pushing the limit, always moving on to the next level, always setting new goals. And failure was not an option. It happened from time to time, and that happened another way. And it was folks like you that inspired me to set my goals and get it done, and to be a good example, to be a better man every day. And I'm that good yet, I'm on my way. And I think that you guys do this for so many of all of us. I just don't know that you get to do that very often. So thank you.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, you know, being a role model meant something. It's like, okay, you're a role model for kids all around the world, 40 countries, and kids, and they want to aspire to be like you. And so we don't want to disappoint. I mean, I know myself, I was like, okay, well, I want to make sure I don't get in trouble. I don't want to be I don't want to like tarnish that in any way. So it's motivated me to be a better person, to be better, you know, to stay out of trouble. Although I'm not a troublemaker anyway, but still, there's that extra thing in the back of my head. It's like I don't want to inspire anybody to be negative in any way. So it's always been another motivating factor to keep my hands clean.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, wherever, you know, you guys come up to us and meet us, I think it's very important for us to make that moment special for you, because, you know, I know how I felt when I was, you know, 5, 6 years old, when the people I looked up to. So I've met people in Hollywood who were nice, and they just killed it for me, you know, and I'm like, oh. So for me, it's a, you know, there's definitely, I want that moment to be everything for you guys. So, like you said, you guys give us so much more than we could ever give you. I mean, it's amazing.
Great questions.
We've got questions later here.
Actually, as a fellow Jones, as a kid, I would always get asked to get autographs from you because people just assumed that we were related. But I did, as a kid, I always wanted to know exactly how involved were your parents or your family members in the beginnings of your career, like were they very present on set, and kind of what influence have they had from the beginning and through the years?
My parents were inspired me to seek out and achieve things that I wanted to do in my life. I had actually already grew up in Detroit, so I'd already gone off and gone to college and was on my own completely. So I still had family in LA, but I was far away from Detroit. My family wasn't really involved. I guess after I did the pilot and I showed it, I took a home show to them, and I was like, okay, I got this kid show. It's kind of weird, but you know, I want to show it to you. They looked at it like, okay, that's good. You know, they were with me, and they're like, you know, this is good, you know, stepping stone in your career. And next thing you know, the show blowing up. But they, as far as every day on the set, so forth and so on, they weren't really involved. They were just in the distance going around me, people who were.
Yeah, my parents, I mean, growing up, I did plays and all that as a child. And my parents would spend a lot of money to send me to gymnastics school, like thousands of dollars a month that I would skip. And I would take the bus downtown and audition for plays in the city that I lived in. So when they found that out, they weren't very happy with me. But I was a really good gymnast, but I always wanted to be an actor more than a gymnast. So eventually they came around and were very supportive of me. When I told them I was moving to LA to be an actor, they were like, you're young, go for it, and see what happens. And then obviously with Power Rangers, they were obviously very supportive and very excited for me and very proud. But I also was a grown man, so they weren't on set with me. They wanted me on the set. But like, no, Mom, you're going to embarrass me, so you don't get to come. But very supportive.
Yeah, I think that's because it was my family. Again, I got the part when I lived in Texas, and they were like, you know, 4 days later, they were like, okay, you're going to move to LA. And so it was very quick, but they were so supportive. show, like I would come home and visit my family, and there would be like kids lined up around the house, and I'd be like, Mom, I'm here to visit the family, not to do an autograph session. And she was like, but the kids, you gotta, you know, they want your autograph, they want to take pictures with you. So I would give her one day, and I'd say, okay, the one day that I was there on the trip, I will do whatever you want me to do, but the rest of the time I want to just be with you guys. So she was very proud, so proud. She still is. She's got a little shrine in her house. And my sisters are like, yeah, you're the favorite. Oh, what can I say? I was on a TV show.
My dad was a Marine, so he was pretty busy with his career when I was on the show. I was 17, so I probably could have used a little parental guidance when I was on the show. My mom at the time was pretty sick, so she wasn't able to make it. My brother was in high school, but I drove south to see them from time to time, because they were southern LA, a little further south. But I would make it down that way when we weren't filming like Demons. And so they were very happy. They loved me very much. And you know, my brother in high school was like, "My brother's the Red Ranger." It was I don't know if you got home points or girls or both. But I'm just saying.
I know. My nephew had to go to his school because they didn't believe him and he was crying. So I went to his play. He had a play, and I went and sat on the front row just so that they would leave him. So it was sweet.
And we've got time for one last question from this gentleman here. Don't worry, there's a panel tomorrow morning. There's a panel tomorrow morning.
Hey Austin, I met you earlier. I told you, you were my hero growing up, whatever, whatnot. I got a very specific question for you.
It's Divine, right?
Yes, Divine. All right. We know you left the show for your own personal reasons, respect, as you said in your past interviews and whatnot. But you also came back in Zeo as the Gold Ranger. So it's kind of a two-part question. Why did you come back, and which did you prefer, gold or red?
I get that question quite a lot. And I'll tell you what, I came back, I think, because the time was right. And once I had stood my ground, when I spoke with the producers, when we ended up, it was actually a movie that Blake Foster was shooting at the time before he came to Power Rangers. He asked me to come out and see the set, and I was hanging out. He's like, hey, so Austin, we're going to be doing this movie. Maybe this Gold Ranger thing, you should do this. So we talked about it. I was like, can I be a bad guy? I want to be a bad guy. And he just kind of smiled. Bad guy. Let's see, so we talked. It was just kind of a spontaneous thing. The time was right, enough time had gone by. They were treating me with respect. They certainly made me much better. I did not get rich. But I couldn't pay my rent. So,
that's important.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And Gold Ranger, as far as the character goes, that was the first time I ever been a sixth Ranger, the outsider. So as the Red Ranger, I was like the go-to guy for certain things, and that was kind of like home base for the team. The Red Ranger was like Montana Pie, that's where everybody focused, or everybody corralled down, and then we all worked together when the time came. But it was always kind of like a staple. The Gold Ranger, I got to be a bit more aloof, which I like. I'm like, hey man, you get your butts kicked over there? Did you need me to come hang with that? Well, should I wait for Ferrari or Maggie's or Maggie's? I got this. I got it. No, go ahead, please. I got it. And I roll up with the big gold medal, and I was like, yeah. So I loved being a sixth Ranger. He was good at kicking butt, taking names, but the Red Ranger is kind of like home for me. So that's where it started, and I love all those that love them both. So it's pretty cool.
Just so you guys know, after this, we're going to have a photo op, where the photo op section is, but we're also going back to our table, so we'd love to meet all of you and actually see you. The lights are so bright, and so half the people who ask us questions. So please stop by the table, we'll be signing autographs, but we'd love to meet you as well.
All right, so now we need to get everybody up for the group more. If you want to get loud. pack them in.
Right, so we're packing move forward, get close to the ring.
Alright, so the key to this, to make it work, is you gotta get, it's like from the gut. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. It's morphin' time! Morphin' time! Right? That's how we roll. Trigosaur! Trigosaur! Alright. Alright, so everybody face this way. Let's get some arms up. Make, noisy. Alright? Alright, all three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. It's morphin' time! Alright, one more time. Here we go, that was practice. Take 2. Alright, is it video? No. Right. Oh, video? Alright. I'll do it. Are we rolling directly? Alright. We're good? Yeah. Alright, 1, 2, 3. It's morphin' time!
Ladies and gentlemen, please give our cast members for the Power Rangers one more big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We've got David Ross, Austin St. John, Walter Jones, and Karen Ashley.